Good afternoon. This is Musically Speaking. Yes, we have a special edition today because we're talking with somebody who is truly special. I'm talking to a man who is not only a remarkable musician, a fantastic musician, but an incredible human being. Somebody I have the greatest admiration, respect, and love for. Talking about none other than the man, Dean Fraser. I call him Uncle Dean. But he is one of the kindest and most understanding human beings I've ever known. So today we are going to be chatting with this remarkable human being and musician, none other than Dean Fraser. Welcome to Musically Speaking, Uncle Dean.
Good afternoon, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Give thanks for having me, you know.
It's our pleasure having you. And, we're going to be talking about your musical journey from the days as a little boy in Boys Town, Trench Town, and, what your experience going through the various levels and stages, and the changes. And some of the challenges that you would have encountered and some of the personalities, because you have seen them all and you have worked with so many of them and you have really embellished so many major works. I used to have a joke, which was that if I wanted a number one tune or a hit tune, I would just bring you on to play. And that would make a difference, because that horn playing always added something special to a song. And here is a song that, normally people would associate with a dance hall, but no, this one had such a jazzy flavor, and it had to do with your playing and your involvement, talking about Beenie Man and Nuff Gal.
Nuff gal and gal in a bungle, gal from Rima, gal from jungle. Nuff gal and none of them must say gungle.
Nuff Gal. Even if you don't agree with the sentiment, you must admit that this particular song is a classic. And the Dean Fraser playing there on the sax is just beautiful. It's one of those songs where, you have the instrumental break, which gives you that real special feeling, when Ernie Ranglin plays on It Hurts to Be Alone.
Yes,
that kind of signature instrumental break. What was that project like? You recall?
Yes, man. I remember. It was Slipe Road.
Yes.
It was shocking vibes, Slipe Road, and I was called in to, do this project, and I remember Robbie Lynn and myself, and it was just this was just dancehall at its highest level,
Yeah, because it's a different song. This is jazz.
Yeah, it was classic. It had other influence, it had the jazz genre, and it had a little what you'd call it now, kind of Spanish touch to it.
Yes,
also.
yes, a little Latin.
Yes, Latin groove to it also, and the song was just a good song, and
people who don't necessarily subscribe to Beenie Man sentiments, or are fans of his. Yeah. People who don't love dancehall, they will tell you that that Nuff Gal is what
I personally know that I personally can say that government ministers and have approached me and say, I think that Nuff Gal song is just the best thing.
No,
and a lot of the people, we call them uptown people, not necessarily, but all these people, all these music lovers would endorse this song.
It's a top flight song, you know. Dean, just let us now go back a little bit and talk about how you got into music. You come from Trenchtown, basically, where people like Bob Marley originated musically, that is, even if they came from other places. Yeah. They blossomed there musically. What was the circumstances like when you were growing up in Trenchtown? Already, when you would have come of age, I mean, you know, as I say, you know, you start to have sense. You would have perhaps been seeing Bob Marley and all of those people. They would have already been making a mark on the music.
Well, I remember growing up in Trenchtown. I remember my mother came home one evening from work and said, "Boy, she get one of these little house in Trenchtown, and you know we're going to."
That would be what we call Rima.
Yeah. We got one of those houses in Rima on 4th Street, and you know we don't pay rent. No,
for a lot of people that was a big move.
Yeah,
going into those.
Yeah, those is a little matches box.
Matches boxes.
Yeah, but you know the own was written on.
Yes, the fact that you own that it meant something. Yes.
Yes, so you know we moved there officially, but because we were in Jonestown also too, and so you know I used to live on Penn Street, and now we're moving into a little place, and I have an aunt who she's a disciplinarian, of course, but is an educator, you know. So my aunt always make sure say me I go to school and me have to find something to do after school apart from regular homework, you know. So she used to work with a place called the National Volunteers Association, NVO, and as a social worker, of course, taking, you know. So you had a little place on Love Street.
That's in Jonestown.
In Jonestown. And that was like a little youth club, you know, somewhere, something for the youth them go to. So there was this man called Alfred Babe O'Brien.
Yeah, Babe O'Brien.
Yes,
it was a very strict man.
Very strict, you know, he's a little Irish man and very strict, and him didn't know if to deal with you as picnic. He had all the ingredients to, you know. So I went there.
So Babe was not a Jamaican?
No, he wasn't.
Right.
Right. So I went there, and he said to me, those fingers look like they should play clarinet. So, you know, of course he brought a clarinet to me, and, you know, I started trying to get one note. Took maybe about a week to just get that one note, and it all started there.
So originally you had not intended to play the saxophone or the clarinet or any of those instruments?
Actually, a little, maybe about a year before that, my aunt had taken me to this lady, I'm not even remembering her name, I think it's Williams, Miss Williams, to learn guitar.
Okay.
Yeah, but I didn't find her to be, you know, the kind of, you know.
She wasn't inspiring you.
No, not very much.
But Babe inspired you?
Yeah, Babe. Well, apart from Babe inspiring you look around and you say the great Nambo Robinson practicing.
Also, Nambo was with Babe too.
Yes, the Chico Chin practicing, Barry Bailey practicing, Calvin Mckenzie.
So Babe had this school where he was
He
just
was
teaching all of these youngsters for free?
For free. Because it was the NVO's project.
Okay.
So it was for free. So you had the great drummer Calvin Mckenzie, you know, everybody was there, and you know, so as a, you know, little youth, youngster, you know, 12, because I started really late, you know, 12 going on to 13, you know, this was something.
So Nambo and those guys had started earlier.
Yeah, man, they were actually playing. I was just starting to learn, but they had, you know, because I mean, Nambo at that time was even playing with Mystic Revelation.
Wow.
You know, so you know, I was seeing these people and was very, you know, wow, you know, because you know, and you had a little trumpeter from Love Street named Paul Wint. And I remember the Prime Minister at the time, Hugh Shearer, giving him a trumpet.
He was so impressed with him.
He was impressed with him. And, you know, I was like, me want a trumpet to want a horn to like that, you know. So, you know, everything really started there.
So Nambo, you said, who was a close associate of yours musically, he had been with Babe O'Brien, and he had an association early with Mystic Revelation of Rastafari. That's a group that had a significant impact on my own personal development, you know. People like Joe Ruggles, you know, was a mentor of mine. People like Leslie Samuels,
you know,
Cedric Brooks. These men were like my teachers, and I learned so much from them as a small child, you know. And at that time, people were perhaps up in arms saying, I mean, this kid is associating with the Rasta man.
Bad move.
Yeah, bad move, you know. I mean, everybody was thinking this is the worst thing that could have happened to a small child. You know, and I learned so much from these people. You know, they all congregated in this place next door to me, where I lived, where I grew up in on Asquith Street. And you had people who would come there like you know, Cedric Brooks and as I said, Ruggles, and you had people like Raphael Dillon, you know, the great Count Mugg, you know, who's, you know, he had King Alpha and the Progressive Sonics.
Mugg impressed me too, because he played every reed instrument you could think of.
A brilliant man. You know, I mean, I tell people, Mugg is 93 now, but when you talk to him, his faculties are so intact. Every time I talk to him, I learn something new. Because he's able to bring up memories and information.
And guess what? My teacher, Babe O'Brien, being such a prolific musician, rubbed shoulders with all of these musicians. And the great thing about it is people like Mugg, Cedric Brooks, Joe Ruggles, they came to Love Street where I was. I remember seeing this man walk through the gate with his saxophone, of course, in a little white African pants and a little top like what I have on. And Maestro said, you know who that is? And I said, no. Maestro said, him name him. You know? And I said, him? What kind of name that, you know?
That's Im Brooks.
Said, that's Im Brooks.
Yes.
So at that time, my radio was flooding with a thing named Moneymaker by Im and Dave. Dave as in David Madden.
Oh yes, the great David Madden.
Right. So this now was something that just made me exciting, you know, because him took time out to say, you know, try to hold the clarinet a little more, keep your arms away from your side, and, you know.
Techniques.
Yes. So people like him would just come by and say, this is what you must do. And I mean, he did it on numerous occasions. And you have a little man now who used to in the army at the time, live over jungle too, sing. And this man made sure him come across and him show me how to hold the instrument most evenings when him coming from work.
So your situation is atypical because most great Jamaican instrumentalists, they go through the route of alpha.
Of course.
You know.
But I didn't. but I had all these people.
But, and people who went to alpha.
Yes. And of course, and my teacher also taught at alpha.
You mean Babe? Yes.
But Glenn DeCosta, Glenn DeCosta would come because at that time he was in military.
Yes.
And he would come most evenings and say, oh yeah, Don, show me, little techniques and all that I should use. So.
But you joined up with Sonny Bradshaw early.
Yeah.
What was that like? Because Sonny's a character.
Yes, Sonny's a super character. Sonny was real school, and he spoke in parables. Sonny would never say, Clyde, get up off the seat. He would never say something like that. He would say that, you notice when I'm playing, I'm standing. You understand what I say?
So you must read between the lines.
Yeah, so I remember Sonny coming to me and him say, you can play Betcha by Golly Wow, which is a big stylistic tune back in those days. And I said, no. Him say, you can play You Make Me Feel Brand New. Because these were top 10 songs.
These were the songs that
we played every night. And
yes,
you had to learn.
You had to have that in your repertoire.
But he never said to me, go and learn those songs. He just asked me if I know the songs well. I said, yes, but we play them every night. Him say, no, I'm meaning if you can play them. I said, no, I've never really, checked the melodies and I just played my part. Him say, you know that I can play them? I say, yes, I hear you play, more than once. Him say, okay.
Which meant that
I should learn those songs, So that's how we used to approach the whole situation. And so, I just learned a lot of things.
From him?
Yep.
And you learned about the business in terms of how you conduct yourself.
Discipline.
Because he was a strict disciplinarian.
Yeah. So the whole discipline came to the fore, and you had to wear certain clothes, on the bandstand.
because he's very strict on those matters.
Yeah, and it was so strict that it cost you.
Yeah, because if you don't dress a certain way, then you're going to be fined.
Yes, so I would get like $4 or $5 to play
per night.
Yeah, and if I don't have on the right clothes, or if I come late, which I never, I would get like $350. Yeah. You understand me? So
typical Sonny, and Sonny was a politician too in the music business because he was very active in ensuring the welfare and the well-being of the musicians. On a wider scale.
Yeah, man.
He was involved for many years with the musicians union.
Yeah.
And got a lot of the changes.
He made a lot of the changes too.
Where musicians didn't have to walk through the back door.
Exactly.
And they were treated respectfully.
Yeah, and one big thing happened about 73, 74. We went to the holiday in Montego Bay and we were not being served. And I remember Sonny coming in and slapped the table And, you know, you had hundreds of tourists at the time, and everybody looked around. And he just said, why my musicians are not being served? And because of that little scene,
everybody was moving, everybody got busy.
Moving towards us, and I remember them putting on the plates and the coffee and the juices and everything. And at the end of that, Sonny flipped the table.
Just turn it over.
Him just flipped the table. And
that's typical Sonny.
You know, that also taught me that, you know, sometimes, you know, you have to stand up for what you deal with. You have to stand up for your right. And, you know, you have to deal with it a certain way that it make the mark.
I want to talk to you a little bit about Joe Ruggles.
Yeah.
You know, no, that, again, was a character.
Yeah.
An imposing figure. I mean,
yeah,
Joe,
very tall.
Yes, taller.
Deep voice and, you know.
And he adored Melba Liston.
Yes.
Melba was musical director at what would have been the School of Music then.
Edna.
What is now Edna.
Yes.
And I would want to go into that situation, the influence of someone like a Melba Liston on your career. What did she do in terms of just having an impact? Because here was somebody who was larger than life, came to Jamaica, and she impacted a cohort of Jamaican musicians who has influenced modern Jamaican and popular music in a way that is hard to even understand. Melba Liston, for example, I mean, you were part of the first cohort at the School of Music. So tell us about that process, because it is not a situation where you have a musician who has not gone through the formalities of training. Talk to me about that. What it was like.
I just remember Sonny again saying to me, you need to go up to the University of the West Indies on Tuesday at 7. So I said, huh? Him say, you need to go there.
Yeah, because that's his style. He doesn't ask questions. Right. He never, Sonny would never say to you, you know, Sonny would come, I mean, he would come from his tour of Britain, you know, and he comes back and I hear my phone ring. And him say, listen now, I'll come back. So I need to see you. Come up here now, come see me.
Right.
He didn't ask you whether you have the time, what are you doing or anything, because Sonny was very imperious.
So I, you know, took my bus with my hands, of course, and I went up to UE, and I went to Creative Arts, I think it was at the time.
Creative Arts Center.
Yes, that's what they did name them time there. And when I got there, Bubbles Cameron was there, Number Robinson was there, Cedric Brooks was there, Mickey Anson, Joe Ruggles, Al Phillips. I don't remember, but it was a little group of us. And
Stephen Stewart was a part
I
of
think
it?
Stephen Stewart was there also. And then there was this lady, you know, and she sat on a chair and she was just writing some things. You know, so we all got there. And
1 second, let's just take a break, Uncle Dean. Just hold that point and let's get back. Musically speaking, I'm Clyde Mckenzie, and today is very special. As I indicated to you, I'm speaking to someone who I have the greatest regards for. Not just as a musician, he's a great musician, but he is a fabulous human being, one of the kindest people I've known. And we're talking about his sojourn in the business, you know, some of the people he has encountered and who has had a significant impact on his life, one of whom was certainly Sonny Bradshaw. But you were relating now your first encounter with Melba Liston. Yes.
So,
so just put Melba Liston in context. Just tell people who Melba Liston was.
So Melba Liston, a jazz trombone player, female
trombonist,
and she worked with the likes of Duke, Basie, Quincy, keyboard player, but she was like fantastic.
Yes.
If you read the autobiography of Quincy,
Herbie Hancock,
you would
people.
see her name a lot there.
Yes.
So I got to the university in the evening around 7, and this lady was writing some scores, and you know, I asked, I think it was David Madden, what is happening, because I saw Cedric there, and so he said, well, this lady is gonna, help the musicians of Jamaica through the Prime Minister at the time, Michael Manley, and she's supposed to help us to improve our
techniques and
everything in
yes,
music, and So I said, oh, okay. So I just took my seat.
Were most of the people there able to read music at the time?
Yeah, most of us were,
yes,
could read music. Some, Barbara Boland from Trinidad, she was a flautist. She was there also, and so at the end of the she sat there for maybe about half an hour or more. She really didn't say anything. She was just sitting there. And then she said, okay, guys, I am Melba Liston, so and so and so, and I'm going to
Did the people there realize the importance of Melba at the time?
A few.
Yes.
So outside of people like Cedric Brooks and Mckenzie, I think most of this, had no idea of what's happening and who this person was. So she, passed the music out, and we started to look at it, and she was so great. She was so fantastic at what she was doing that even though these songs were big jazz songs, she made it so simple that, everybody could find their way around, reading these charts. And at the end of the day, we did a little run through, and then she just said, ready, bam, and we played these songs. I remember we playing a song called Reverie. Yeah, that she took her trombone and started to play, and that became very distracting to me personally, because
she was just so brilliant.
I stopped looking at the music, and I just started to tune into why this woman sounds so wicked, and I am like, wow. And I remember she also wrote a little score on Bob Marley's Roadblock, Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. And it was just something I've never heard or seen before. And then at the end of that, I realized that she was actually being what you call, she was doing this for the dean of the Jamaica School of Music at the time. And
so she was recruiting too?
She wasn't really recruiting, but they were saying like, oh, who is this lady, who is this person, we need to hear what she can do, and and so so she gave it to them. And then that's where all that started.
So she brought all of you into her program.
Yes, and in a couple of weeks, we had maybe about 100 or more students. So it was just a big workshop, and they didn't want us at the Jamaica School of Music. So we were given a little house as you come through the gate at you.
Why? Because what was the concern?
Of course,
you were rebels, and
they couldn't take this whole rebel thing taking over the school, man, and some
because
Rasta,
it was supposed
some
to.
half Rasta,
They're looking more for a classical
yes,
type of,
man. They prestige
yes.
them deal with them not deal with the music of Jamaica and the roots music itself, and of course, most of us were real rebels at the time,
and because you were already playing in bands, and you would have been backing a lot of artists in studio.
Exactly. So this was not accepted. So we got the old farmhouse.
So you got the cold shoulder treatment.
Yeah, and in a couple of months, Mickey Hansen, who was the head cook and bottle washer at the time, Mickey Hansen, we do the first concert. Our concert. I remember blowing up the newspaper, because we were like center spread, and they showed the big band, and it was like about 6 saxes and about 5 trumpet and about another 7 trombones.
But you were playing. What were you playing? Jazz or
jazz?
Or just jazz?
We played jazz. You understand me? I say, and I was doing lead alto, and the whole thing was just fantastic. And so it came to the situation now where we had to be a part of the Jamaica School of Music.
So but Melba emphasized the playing of jazz. How would you say she affected the emergence of Jamaican music and the acceptance of this genre at the School of Music?
I don't think it was ever accepted at the school, but Melba make us, she is a rounded thing with us, So jazz now was a part of the thing, and that made us
equipped you as musicians to do anything.
Yes.
So you mastered that.
Yes.
And then it enabled you to do whatever you wanted.
Exactly.
And so when you went on stage with a reggae act,
yes,
you were able.
You were rounded and ready to do anything. So that whole Melba situation became a part of Edna Mandlin House, because we moved now from Hope Road into what at that time it was called the Cultural Training Center. You understand?
You've come a long way.
Yeah.
Now,
yes.
Now, you look at this music development, and when you think of a Dean Fraser, you think of a man who has played and provided music for so many of the big names in Jamaican music. The question would be, who hasn't he worked for? And
Yes, so I would just answer. I just say from Bob Marley to Beanie Man. That's how I answer that.
So just let us talk through some of these sessions. So we started with Enough Gal.
Right.
But you worked with a Peter Tosh. You were in Mama Africa.
Yes, man.
Yes, because I remember I think Copeland Forbes speaks about it in his book, Reggae My Life Is, where he says they had gone to New York.
Yeah, to the company.
Yeah, to Columbia, I think it was. And Dick Asher, when he heard, I think it's Where You Gonna Run?
Yep.
He was blown away, literally, because he was asking, who was this saxophonist playing on this song? And Copeland said he told him that it was a young musician from Jamaica by the name of Dean Fraser, whom he had never heard of.
Right.
But he was totally impressed with that. That is just some of the people that you have really provided musical backing for. And maybe we should listen to this track, Where You're Gonna Run, from Mama Africa with Dean Fraser, because this is a song that is mentioned, as I said, in Copeland Forbes. Copeland Forbes' book, musically, Reggae My Life is, musically speaking, that is. The man they call the stepping razor, Peter Tosh. Gosh, we have Dean Fraser, a man who worked with Tosh, and is on that particular track from Mama Africa, Where You Gonna Run. Tell me about that project. How many songs you worked on that?
Quite a few.
On that particular project.
Yeah, I was in Jersey hanging out, and the phone ring, and Peter just said, "Fat man, we want it down here in Jamaica." You see, so I just jump on a plane. I remember, I think I stayed at Dynamics for 2 days. I didn't go home.
Yes. Yeah. And who were some of the other people on that project?
Of course, for the horn players, it was myself, David Madden, Chico Chin, and Namba Robinson. And I remember Foley. I remember Gibby.
Fullwood.
Yes. I mean, Gibby, sorry, not Foley. Gibby was the bass player. Santa, Donald Kingsley, Keith Sterling, Robbie Lynn, those were the people who were
the usual suspects.
Yes. Very much.
And what were some of the other songs that you remember playing on for that?
Well, I would just mention one because that stood out. It's called Johnny Be Good.
Johnny Be Good. Yes, that's a classic. It wasn't original, but the version that you guys played on.
which Peter decided that he wasn't going to voice it.
No, because, I mean, there is that story about this song not being voiced at the insistence of Buddy Wheeler.
That's right.
That's a story that is told by Copeland in his book, Reggae My Life is True.
Because, as I said, I was there for like 2 days. I didn't go home. So that conversation just kept, going around in the studio. Peter come through and him, yes, and thing.
Yes.
And when we did the horn parts, of course, with Clive Hunt, and
it's an amazing session.
The track, the lead on the track was Donald Kingsley's voice.
Oh, because Peter
was not
interested
at all, So
but this Chuck Berry song, which was
adapted
by Peter Tosh, is a true classic. Let's hear Johnny Be Good.
Yeah, man.
Oh no! Listen, we gotta start this one. Okay, we're gonna start this one from the top. Peter Tosh and Johnny Be Good. This is a real classic, if ever you would call that. Let's go. Musically speaking, that's the program. And I tell you, with Peter Tosh, you always got to be careful,
Very.
Because he was quite a controversial figure.
Yeah, man.
What was it like really working with him?
No, man. Peter was just really cool, I mean, that...
People said he was cantankerous.
That's not true, really. Dealing with him is a cool thing. It was all fun. You just needed not to get on the wrong side of it.
But so you just walk the line.
Just walk the line.
And if you walk the line, you're not going to have any trouble.
You're good.
And he's a man who is passionate about his music.
Very, very, very passionate about the music. Him just serious all the time when it comes to his music. It was never you couldn't water it down or, put any little thing, on his tracks. He was like, yes, I like this or I don't like this.
Johnny B. Good. This one is your favorite from the album. From the Mama Africa album, Peter Tosh. Musically speaking, Peter Tosh is on the box. Johnny B. Good. Dean Fraser is here with us, and we're talking music, looking back in time and just assessing the legacy of a Dean Fraser, just his enormous contribution to modern popular music. And it's just incredible, the songs he has performed on. But there's another role you played, Dean, and we're going to be delving into that later on, because you're not just a session musician. You actually arrange a lot of songs, and particularly you are one of the finest vocal arrangers there is. I mean, that ear that picks up the slightest challenge in the performance. You're there. But Peter Tosh, you were on the road with him for a while?
No, I never got the chance to tour with him.
You were supposed to, though.
I was supposed to, yes. I actually played alongside Peter maybe about 3 times. I remember one time in Switzerland on the Montreux Jazz Festival.
The Montreux, yes.
And in LA, I remember at the Greek Theater.
The Greek Theater, is that the one that wasn't the one where he and
no, this was a tour. I think it was somewhere around.
Dennis was involved in that.
Dennis Brown was on the tour, and I was playing for Dennis Brown at the time.
Oh, so you were playing for Dennis Brown?
Yes, and I had a chance to also jam with Peter.
Okay, but you were really with Dennis Brown.
Yes.
Dennis is one of the great of our music. You see Salam Remy,
right.
The great Salam Remy, and it seems as if every day you see make a post of Dennis Brown.
Yes.
He idolizes Dennis Brown, and I mean Salam Remy is a big thing in music, but Dennis Brown, he simply idolizes him, and we should say that Dennis Brown was also Bob Marley's favorite singer.
That's how I met Bob Marley. I mean, met Bob Marley like being introduced to him, because I see Bob Marley every day in Trenchtown as a little youth, and when him play football and the ball come in to play him is, I'm one of the kids who run it down and throw it back, But officially meeting Bob Marley was at the venue in London where Dennis Brown had done like 3 sold-out concerts. And one of the time when we break and go backstage,
Bob was there.
Is the gang that sit here and say, yes, my singer, and and so that's where I was introduced. And so at the end of that tour, that's where Tommy Cowan came for me and said, Bob Marley wanted you to come and play for him.
So tell me about those projects with Bob Marley after we take this break. Musically speaking, today we're speaking to the legend himself, Dean Fraser. And, we're just reminiscing, going back in time, looking at some of the things he has done, some of the people he has worked with. We spoke about Peter Tosh, and now we have a little discussion on Dennis Brown, and of course Dean was telling us about his introduction to Bob Marley. But you worked with Bob Marley. You worked on projects for Marley.
Yes, I worked on the album Survival.
Survival.
Yes.
Tell us some of the songs that you were involved with on that album, because that Survival album is one of the most critically acclaimed of Marley's albums.
Right. It's Ambush in the Night, I remember. Right. And my first solo on a Bob Marley track, Wake Up and Live.
Wake Up and Live.
Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, we're going to be playing both Wake Up and Live and Ambush in the Night, because we're gonna let people hear what is happening. But so you said the first solo you played for Bob Marley.
Yes, that was definitely Wake Up and Live.
Wake Up and Live.
Yeah.
You know, now Bob Marley was one of those people. He was very meticulous in terms of the people he would choose.
Yes.
He went out and he looked for the best.
So
and if he heard that you're the best in this particular area,
he wants you on his track.
Then he recruits you.
So that's what happened in London when he came to the concert and he said, I want him.
He said, I want him.
Yes. So right after that concert,
Wake Up and Live, Bob Marley.
So when you're riding through the rock,
The man I call Uncle Dean, blowing his head off there. Wake Up and Live with Bob Marley. Yes, that's a true classic. And that instrumental break is beautiful. Jazzy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is what it is. And of course, there is more. Because you have Ambush in the Night with Marley too. Right? That's another classic.
this ambush in the night, and by society.
Music of the Gong. Dean Fraser, you were on this project. Tell us a little bit more about it. Who were playing on this particular track and on this project?
Yeah, well, outside of Wailers, of course, on horns you had Nambo Robinson, Chico Chin, and Dean Fraser. So we did horns on this particular project.
Wow.
So I remember going into the studios and at Tough Gong, Hope Road, 56, there was Family Man, sitting around the console along with Alex Satkin.
Alex Satkin.
Yeah.
That's the man with Foreigner.
Yes.
The great Alex Satkin.
Yes. He was the engineer, producer, and
a song like I Wanna Know What Love Is.
Right.
Alex Satkin.
Yep. So you had him, and then you had the Gong himself, and you had Tyrone Downey.
Organdy.
The
great.
Yep. So, we all, we just get together and just come up with great music.
Great music it was. And still is. Dennis Brown, going back to Dennis, because he's the man who introduced you to the Gong in London. And a most incredible voice.
The best.
Unbelievable voice.
I did a tour and we played at the Roxy on Sunset Boulevard. We did about 3 nights, 2 shows per night. And I think everybody in film, in music, were there. So at the first show, Lionel Richie would pass through. At the second show, a Diana Ross would pass through. I remember meeting Rolls Royce lead singer Gwen for the first time there. And you had all these fantastic musicians just hanging out there. But there was one topic that stood out, and it was that this is the greatest tenor voice them ever hear.
Dennis Emmanuel Brown. You worked on a number of albums with him.
Yeah.
You want to talk about them. I know, for example, there's a particular song that you've spoken to me about, halfway up,
Halfway
down.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful song.
Yes, I remember even the lady who wrote the song, you know, introduced herself. I think it was in Vermont. She came up and said, well, she had this song that she wanted Dennis Brown to do. And that was Halfway Up. And so that Love Has Found Its Way album, produced by the great Willie Lindo, of course.
Willie Lindo, oh God.
Yes, so we really, you know, sat there at the Joe Gibbs studio.
That's another story.
Yes, that's another story. So, you know, of course, Halfway Up, Love Has Found Its Way, you know, a couple of these tracks, and so.
So that was in that era of A&M too.
Yes, it was
the A&M.
It was
era.
the beginning of A&M.
Yes,
really.
the
Yes.
Herb Alpert.
Yes,
yes, that is quite a period in the music. But let's hear Halfway Up, Halfway Down. Dennis Emmanuel Brown.
And when the sun comes tomorrow, and I'm blessed with another day, at least I have found God's middle ground. Halfway up, halfway down. Well,
They call him Emmanuel, and I know all the people at Jazz Hut and downtown in the heart of Kingston, Lego, Jimmy Sola, Jingles, all of those people, they're loving this. Dean Fraser today on Musically Speaking, just talking about some of his works, you know, we're just sitting and reminiscing. And that's a classic from the album Love Has Found Its Way.
Yeah.
You know, this is a beauty. What a voice that was.
Yeah, man, it is just the best voice, trust me.
You know, and of course we're gonna give you a piece of Love Has Found Its Way, because that's the album from which it was taken.
love has found its way in our hearts today. In our hearts today.
Classic after classic with a Dean Fraser imprint. Wow. This just blow you away. You know, man. So Dennis Brown, that was quite a period.
Yeah.
You know, Dennis was very controversial in his very quiet way.
Yeah.
You know, but brilliant.
Very, very. And of course, you know, we have to mention, from we said Dennis Brown, you know, you have to mention Lloyd Parks, We the People, you know, and on this particular track, the band played this particular track.
It was Lloydie.
Yeah, it was We the People with Devon Richardson on drums, Winston Bopi Boeing, Bobla
Wall, man.
Yes, and you know, so, you know, this was a super song.
Yes, with super musicians.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Now, we move a little away from Dennis because you have worked with so many artists in the capacity of musical director, in the capacity of arranger, in the capacity of studio and session musician. And there's some that you have left, you know, oversized imprint on their careers. I mean, you talk about somebody like Luciano.
Yeah.
Of course, Taurus Riley, Sizzla Kalonji. And I want to talk a little bit about Luciano and Fatis Borel and that whole
That
arrangement.
era.
That whole arrangement. Because, I mean, the Luciano music has Dean Fraser stamped all over it. Tell me about that relationship with
Philip.
Yeah, with Philip Fatis Borel. And my brother.
Yeah, well, you see these conversations, them lead into other conversations. Because you see, we just in a nutshell, we had a what you'd call a Britain, a UK thing, right, that I did with people like Clyde, Gussie Clark, and Donovan Jeremy, and Allen, Roy Allen, Archive.
Yes.
So that period, that early 80s, mid 80s period where the Lovers Rock was the thing.
Yes.
You know, I had a chance to, you know, do a lot of these pre-productions and vocal arrangement and all of that. And these were big songs in England. You know, one particular song, Roddy Thomas, If I Had the Key to the World.
Yes.
You know, and so doing that project, you know, I started to work with Gussie Clark.
Great Gussie.
You know, seriously at Anchor, where I think my voice coaching and arrangements came to the fore, you know. So in working with Gussie, you know, we're doing Telephone Love, you know, along with me and Mikey Bennett, and we're doing all this great stuff going down. And then one day me just say, a man come, and him just say, are you named Dean Fraser?
Could be none other than Fatties.
I'm say, yeah. And him just say, you know, some more upon a session. And
Yeah, well, I love your pronunciation.
love the pronunciation. You know. So I say, all right, well, tell me now, details, you know. Him say, well, all right, that's some work, you know.
Yeah, because that anchor was where Fatties was anchored.
Yes.
That was where he was anchored.
Yeah, and I remember him just, you know, bringing like hundreds of tapes, and him just pack them up, and him just say, work on that, and work on that. And then at the time, you know, I was 809 at the time, right? My band was 809, and, you know, we had a little headquarters at Grove Road.
Yes.
So at the Grove Road headquarters, you know, you had Caveman Sound, and, you know, so Grove Road became a little hangout
Yes,
spot.
because there was a booking and all of that happened.
And
right?
Don Henry was doing
yes,
booking,
yes.
and also, what's his name, had Blue Mountain Music there.
Yes.
Right?
Dennis.
No.
Oh, you're talking Lloyd. Okay.
Yeah, and so, or Mr. Harris, Don Henry, you know, we had a nice little family there, and you know, things were happening, and so I started to work for Fatties, and then I remember we played. Fatties
is another character.
Yes, so we played dominoes and Ludo and the downtime there, and
at Anchor.
no, at Grove Road.
At Grove Road.
And
Yes.
And then what happened was that you saw this little boy, you know, with him school clothes and him thing. Same name, Miguel, you know. So Mr. Harris come to me and said,
That is Sizzla Kalanji.
yes, and all right. So all of that started there, and then Luciano and Mikey General, because of Caveman's sound system, and they were doing dubs. So, you know, the whole family came together there, and we had great times. So then Fatties now said, Vice Lucy, you know, and so, you know, I started to do all of that, and, you know, we were there voicing, doing harmonies and thing, and then I remember one day Fatties come and say, we have to have a band. You know, them time the Fatties didn't have many words, you know. Him say, right now we need a band.
Yeah,
we
we need
go
a
on
band,
tour, you know, cause Lucian go up on island, and we have to have a band, and you have to lead the band, you know. So I say, me, him say, yeah. And so,
A man of few words, Fatties.
yes. But then at the same time,
1 second, Dean. We're gonna take a short break and come right back. Musically speaking, talking with the legendary Dean Fraser, and we're just reminiscing, looking back at some of the notable moments in what has been a fantastic career. We were talking about those days at Grove
Fatis,
Road,
yeah.
and your encounter with the inimitable Fatis Burrell, the exterminator man. So you had that early encounter where you had been introduced to people like Sizzler and Luciano.
Yeah.
Yes. Give me.
So
the story.
Sizzler was introduced to me really by Mr. Harris, right? Oris. So he introduced him, as Miguel really, and Sizzler was a youngster going to Dunoon, and he would be just DJing stuff, but he wasn't guessing. He wasn't picking up lyric from out of the ear.
It was as if it was something special.
Yes, he was saying things that I don't remember hearing.
Yes, it was just
yeah,
out of this world.
yeah, and so I decided that I would record him. And I did a song with him called "Explain to Almighty," which was his first song, and I mean, not being able to produce him the way he should, I took him to Fatis.
Right.
So that's how that started. But then Luciano was there, because Luciano had already done an album for Freddie McGregor. And so he also came in. And then you had quite a number of other artists, Jesse Gender, Shadow Man, these were a few other people that were on. So then we had this big exterminator crew that I had to take care of. Yes, so that
So how you managed balancing that with your
809
obligations, 809 and your obligations to Gussie too?
Yes, it was, I had to break it down into days. So you would like have a Monday for Gussie, you have a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for Fatis, you have a Friday for 809, and I had to be rehearsing. And so, one of the ways to get through a lot of work is you have to start early. So if you start like 5 o'clock, so 5 o'clock would be your regular duties and things. So by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, you're ready for work. So I had to do all of that, and then it took you to late nights also, but for somehow I worked it out.
So let's talk about Lucy and
Yeah.
what was
So
your association.
So this was another
some of the projects you
voice.
worked
This
on.
was another voice that you couldn't resist listening to.
Yeah, it has a power.
Yeah, you would hear it, but then you would take a second listen.
It's soulful.
Yes.
Yes.
So you had gospel, R&B, roots, reggae, and meaning. Some this is somebody singing with meaning. This is not a man who does a sing for same can sing.
Right.
You had meaning. You had soul. And I loved it, and so we sat in the studios for hours and we worked on all of this until the whole island experience came, and we put the Firehouse crew together, with Danny and George and Wrong Move and Mitchum and you name it, Ryan, and so and at the same time I had to find backup singers.
Yes.
So with that I took Althea, Lane Hamilton, and Connie Campbell.
Yes.
I took them, I mean, rest in peace to
Connie,
both of them,
Yes.
I took them out of LOG.
They were working in Life of Jamaica.
Yeah, there were big people working, big secretaries and all that, working for the executives at LOJ, and I took them out. That was
No, and I used to remember seeing you in recording sessions with them.
Yeah.
Doing the harmonies.
Yeah.
And I mean the precision.
Yeah, so I removed them from their regular jobs.
I remember one particular ssion with Lucy. We were at G-Jam.
Yes,
we were at
that was
G-Jam.
a lovely session.
It was a great session.
So And so the whole Exterminator crew grew out of that, you know. And so, you know, fattest thing wasn't, we never go all about go do nothing. We build everything from scratch.
And just tell us some of the songs that you recall. I mean, there are so many.
Yeah, well, of course, you know, when you heard, first when you listen to a song, like It's Me Again, Jah.
Yes.
Lord give me strength.
Lord give me strength.
When you listen, the minute those songs played in the studios, is as if the ideas were coming out of the walls.
Yes, Lord gives me strength.
Yeah,
is actually a chapter in Copeland's book.
Exactly. Yeah. So you had all these lovely lyrical contents and thing, and that's
you were arranging all.
Yes, I was songs. Yes, and you know, after Danny and Clyde and put on the rhythm track, then I had to take over.
Yes, and lay it now with it.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, you know, these were just great songs, and the ideas were just coming at you. You understand me? So, and this was just a fantastic era, also. You know, where the music was just mellow and
beautiful. Yes.
You know.
When I hear Lucy's Lord give me strength.
Yeah, you know.
And so I promise to serve thee, oh my Lord.
Lord give me strength. Tell me a little bit about that song.
Yeah, man. This was a song that anywhere you go into the world, anywhere in the world you go, people grab this song, hold on to it, them no want to let it go. I remember playing in New York, and Malik from New York,
Malik Yoba.
Malik just walk onto the stage and just start to sing the song with Luciana, and you know what happened after that. It also happened in Florida. You know what happened after that. Everybody went crazy. You understand me? And this song, I mean, people used to play this song in their cars going to work in the mornings. This was one of those songs that, you know, resonate with everyone.
Let us hear a little piece of It's Me Again, Jah.
Yeah.
It's me again, Jah, as I fall on my knees.
It's me again, Jah. Luciano, Jeff to McClymont. What a man, what a voice.
Yep.
What a music. Dean Fraser, you had so much to do with all of this. It's just simply amazing. When you sit back and you listen to all of this and just wondering that did this all come from me?
Yeah,
that must be an amazing feeling. Yeah. But we talk about Sizzla Kalonji, who was always was a part of the Exterminator crew and the legendary Fatis. Talk to me about some of the projects that you did with Sizzla.
Well, as I said before, I recorded Explain to Almighty, and then I took him to Fatis, and so we started to work alongside him, and then he also went to Bobby
Digital, yes.
Right, and I also played on those tracks too, and Sizzla just came to the fore, and him just bad. I remember, I had to say, I remember once a certain artist was saying to him, "Hey, you can't boss, you know, but you have to DJ upon jump up rhythm, you know." And me just call him one side and me just say, "Listen to me now, Miguel. Just do what you're doing, same way. It must happen." You understand what I say? So, you know, Sizzla took the music to a level where every youth wanted to be Sizzla. Every youth.
Which songs from Sizzla you would say are the most memorable you worked with?
Okay, so the Black Woman and Child.
Black Woman and Child.
And then a song named Oh Them a Wonder. No, this song is a Fatty song, I remember. I remember playing the sax on it. And for some reason, I took a chance. We were doing a tour of the UK. And I took a chance. I said, you know, I'm going to put that song in the set. I took a chance. I put the song in the set. And when the intro play, and Sizzla said, oh, them I wonder, we had to stop playing.
Pandemonium.
We had, you literally could not hear the PA anymore. You understand what I said? People were just screaming in Birmingham. It was just crazy. You understand me? So this is where I knew Sizzla was going to be a superstar.
We can't talk about Dean Fraser,
yes,
without talking about Tarrus Riley, particularly in this current context. And so I can't finish the program
without
talking a little bit. I mean, we just touched the surface, Dean. I
yes,
mean,
we need about 3 more.
Yes, we need about
3 more program. We do it.
Yeah, to really get anywhere near where we need to go, because the career of Tarrus Riley. But I just want to just touch the black woman and child with Bobby Digital.
The Black Woman and Child.
Yes, I just want to just touch a little piece of that before we talk about Tarrus
When
Riley.
I heard that song, I had this soprano in you know, that Fatis had bought me. And I just said to Bobby, look, this is what I'm going to play. So I played a melody from one of Jackie Mitou's songs. Da, 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 da. And that was the intro that I played on Black Woman and Child, because I know that that song will live forever.
Black Woman and Child.
Yes.
You're the first to give birth unto mankind.
This is not the original, Dean. It's a different mix. Okay.
Not the original mix, really.
Right.
But this was the song that I thought, you know, me say yes, well, Sizzla will never be forgotten. Yeah.
Sizzla Kalanji. Yes, man. Special man. And the work with Bobby Digital and Fatis is legendary, and yourself. Tarrus Riley, singing.
Yeah. You know, you have people with talent, and you have people that you have to work to get them there. But then you have the people who make it easy. You have the people who listen, you know, and who work alongside you. So I happened to run into Jimmy Riley, and he had this little kid beside him, and Jimmy just said, "See Dean Fraser there." And you know, him kind of looked at me, and him said to me, like him would have said, "You know Clyde Mckenzie?" And I say, "Yeah." And him said, "Well, I want to know about him." So Tarrus would question you about all these people. He met them, but he wanted to know something about them. Anyway, he would question and talk till one day, you know, after a couple of months, one day another friend came and said that he was producing an artist called Lavaska. And Lavaska were...
Was out of St. Thomas?
Yes, but Lavaska was living in Florida. And so they came, and you know, Tarrus came with him. And I produced an album for Lavaska. And, you know, Lavaska started. But during that process, you know, doing the album and everything, them just come live at my house. You know?
A lot of people do that.
Well, true, but, you know, they came, and I had, you know, this old piano. And Tarrus, for some reason, would wait until I finished these Fatis projects in the nights. He would wait up for me. But then he was on that piano and he was just playing and singing. And so I went to the producer, you know, and I said to him, I said, Blemo, why you don't make me do an album with Taros? And him laugh. He said, Taros won't sing, you know, say Taros shy. I'm saying, no man, I find him interesting. And so him say, if you want. So it's like him say, all right, you know, if you want. Yes, so me do an album with Taurus. And on this particular album, he had a tune called Larger Than Life. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, Ron started to play the song.
That's Ron Moshe?
Yes. And this little thing happened, and, you know, Taurus started to, you know, do little concerts here, little things, you know. And then one day I just said to him, look here, sir, let's do an album. Let's do it like vitamins. Let's just do one a day. Let's just do it one song. You know, I said, we don't have anybody to, you know, give you no money. Make we just take with time and do it one day. And we did an album called Parables. Mm-hmm. And so I told him, I said, when I was going to VP for them to distribute Parables, I said to him, look, this is going to be our takeoff. We're on the runway now. We're going to just take off. I said, by the next album, we will be there. But then this album just went to 36,000 feet, you know, without any, any push, you know.
And on that album we had?
She's Royal.
She's Royal.
There, you know, Stay With You, all of this stuff.
No, and if there is, you know, you have anthems, you know, songs that really reflect a period that really stand the test of time. Yep. You know, the songs like One Blood and those kind of songs, One Love, One Blood. But then a song like She's Royal.
Yes.
Is in that category.
Yes.
Taurus Riley.
She's royal, yeah, so royal.
When I hear this song, I always remember my aunt, Doreen Harrison. It's a favorite of hers. And she had me bring Taurus to perform this song at her anniversary. Yes. Taurus, and he came, just walked through, he was out on the road and he just walked in and everybody was stunned.
Yeah.
When he just walked up to the table and he was singing from out the road. And that was just one impressive show. I mean, it was just incredible. Taurus Riley, She's Royal. This is Musically Speaking. And I mean, as I said, when you're talking to somebody like Dean Fraser, such a prolific hit maker, one who has made such an enormous contribution to Jamaican music and modern popular culture by extension, it's hard just to confine it to one program like this because there's so much to be said and so much to hear because he has done and seen and been involved with so many things. But this is where we have to say so long. I want to thank Kevin Williams, want to thank Danelia Doyle, and of course want to thank you for being here. And it was such a pleasure just sitting and talking with somebody like Dean Fraser. As I told you at the start, he is not just a special musician to me. This is somebody I really appreciate because as a human being, he is exemplary. And we just have to salute people like this when we get the chance to. So we'll be back next week because this one was certainly special with all of this music. Thank you so much, Uncle Dean, as I call you.
Yeah, man, we give thanks and thank the people for listening. And, you know, we hope we get a chance to, you know, sit and talk some more sometime.
Yes, man. I know my sister Shireen is enjoying it. I mean, this has been a very special one, musically speaking.